Anne Rimoin is an epidemiology professor from the University of California in Los Angeles. Anne, it's good to see you.
Nice to be here.
Okay, so we've had this group of independent advisors to the FDA recommending authorization for Moderna's boosters. They've narrowed it down to anyone 65 years or older, those who are 18, who are all older, who have a high risk of severe COVID or exposure, whose exposure to the coronavirus in their jobs puts them at high risk, I should say, for complications or severe illness. Okay, so that's the sort of details there. It's not official. The FDA has to sign off on that. But the recommendation, even though most of the 19 members of the committee, they were not entirely convinced. They were unanimous about recommending it, but they weren't convinced the data showed that boosters were necessary or that it increased protection. So explain the thinking here.
Well, this was all a result of the meeting today, and the bottom line is that these Moderna, the first two shots of the Moderna vaccine have done a great job, and we're seeing them do exactly what they need to do, which is prevent against severe disease, hospitalization, and death. They're doing an excellent job. There wasn't clearly enough data to really show the same kind of effect that we saw with the Israeli data for Pfizer, but it did really seem that there was no harm in doing so. So, this recommendation, I think, is going to simplify things very much so, in that it's going to align with what the Pfizer recommendation is. So if you've had an mRNA vaccine, and you should be eligible if you fit the criteria, over 65 years of age, over the age of 18 with an underlying condition, or have a job or a living situation that puts you at risk, you'll be able to get a booster shot. And I think that that's a really good, smart idea. We're getting in front of this. We're able to stop breakthrough infections early, give more protection, and that will make a difference in this pandemic. But of course, the big issue is getting those people who are not yet vaccinated. That's going to be the real thing that's going to stop the pandemic.
Well, that was my next question. What's more important here, the booster shots or getting people vaccinated? Where should the emphasis be?
Excellent question. And the bottom line is that, of course, the number one thing we can do to stop this pandemic is to get as many people vaccinated as possible with those original doses. That's really critical. We're seeing most of the cases, the severe disease, the hospitalizations, the death, the long-term sequelae, these after effects that you can be having, that's mostly occurring in unvaccinated individuals. The vast majority of cases, we're seeing this here, we're seeing it globally. So getting those first shots in arms is critical, but getting these boosters is going to make a difference. The data in Israel showed that. There is some data here that's showing that. We are seeing breakthrough cases, and so the more that we can do, the better off we're going to be.
It was a good day, speaking of being better off, for those who own Moderna stock. The price jumped over 4% right after the approval, closed 3% higher than the day before. It's a windfall for the company's three founders, all now billionaires. And yet this is a company which is being prodded by the White House to do more in terms of providing more of its vaccines to lower income countries. Listen to this.
We expect that Moderna will step up. We have asked them, they need to step up as a company and join other companies such as Pfizer and provide the COVAX.
So this week, Moderna did announce it would sell at cost more than 175 million doses of its vaccine to these developing countries, lower income countries. That happens early next year. But as a company which has benefited immensely from public funding, it seems very slow, even reluctant to give a little back. So what's been the case in the past? When you have something like a drug which has been developed by public funds, what happens then?
Well, it's going to be really important to get these vaccines out to these countries. As we've said, we've been talking for a really long time, and what I've said to you over and over again is an infection anywhere is potentially an infection everywhere. If we're going to stop this pandemic, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get vaccines in arms globally. And that's really what Moderna needs to be focused on as well. The fact of the matter is giving these vaccines at reduced cost or for free, it's going to be helpful, but getting that technology and the ability to be able to manufacture on the ground is going to be the long-term game changer.
Absolutely. And thank you. Anne Rimoin there in Los Angeles. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure.